It's Tehatchpod time. Maya Acosta here talking today about a very exciting holiday event coming up, Tehachapi Terror. So joining me is Steph and Paul Saladino, owners of Tehachapi Terror. Welcome, both of you.
Thanks for having us today.
Of course. I'm super excited. We were talking before we started recording here. I'm a huge Halloween fan, and I love what you guys do with Tehachapi Terror, so I'm excited to learn more about it. Let's just start from the beginning. How did you guys come up with this super cool and creative event and activity? I mean, it's very unique for a small town like Tehachapi to have something so awesome.
Sure. Well, I actually got started in haunted houses at age 12. I grew up with older brothers and a dad. My dad worked in broadcast as an engineer, and so he created some really fun little Halloween props, talking skulls. I grew up around Halloween. I was terrified of it when I was very young. I'm not sure when that changed exactly. But my older brothers started turning it into a little what's called a home haunt, so a haunted house through the front yard, through the courtyard. And as I got a little bit older, I got more interested. Got started at 12, kind of took it from there. I worked in a couple higher end ones, one in Thousand Oaks, one in Santa Clarita. And then, grew up, got married, moved out here, and kind of took a little bit of a break. But we moved out here and noticed there was a lack of haunted houses. Couldn't help but notice that.
Right.
You want to take it? You can explain how it kind of went from there, Paul. That went to your end.
Well, so I work at Marley's Mutts, the dog rescue, and we saw this opportunity that could have been a win-win. And basically, I pitched the executive director, let's do a haunted house. We just need to be able to pay for the bare bones. I think we were asking for maybe $500, something like that, to cover. I don't even know what we were trying to get.
Looking back, that was way too little.
Basically, just props. And ultimately, the plug got pulled just because there was no guarantee that there'd be return on investment.
Which is fair.
It's there was no for sure if people were actually going to want to show up.
Right.
But we didn't let that take the wind out of our sails. We just said, let's just go ahead and do it anyway. Managed to actually get a few sponsors that made it doable. And then just a lot of hard work for 6 weeks?
About 6 weeks, yeah.
Which our prep time is what now, like?
As much as possible. Like November 1st, if possible.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Ideally, yeah.
We're starting set up this week, and even that's kind of pressing our luck a little bit. We're going to have to work hard. So, yeah, definitely not 6 weeks, and we've been building stuff for months.
Right. So right after the end of Halloween, you're already planning for the next.
At least mentally and conceptually, and
Sure.
we took a little bit of a break kind of for the holidays, but then as soon as we're able to, we're building again.
And when it comes from a marketing side, like we, in most cases, will film, like we come up with an idea for a commercial that'll be for next year's. This year, not so lucky. We're filming our commercial actually this Friday.
Oh, exciting.
But in the past, we filmed our commercial at while the event is running itself, when we have all of our actors on hand, and basically have that just edited at some point, because it's like it doesn't go out until the following September or October. And so it's a big juggling act to make everything happen. And so I'm kind of just going at it from the media perspective, where I pretty much just get to film everyone doing the actual work.
You put in work.
Well, it's a different kind of work, but...
You do manual labor. I put you to work, too.
I mean, when I have to.
You lift the heavy stuff.
Well, that's exciting. Okay, so as someone that is working in media, what do you guys do outside of Tehachapi Terror? Is this a full-time job, or what keeps you busy throughout the year?
I mean, Tehachapi Terror, at least for Steph, it's more than a full-time job. I think if you break it down, it would be, well, I mean, you're not even getting paid, so you can't even say it's
if I
minimum
did,
wage.
if I did, it'd be, that scene from Napoleon Dynamite. It's like $1 an hour. It's less than that.
Yeah.
It's less than that. But outside of Tehachapi Terror, I started actually in special effects makeup after getting started in Halloween. Did that for quite a while, and then realized that wasn't for me. Then I went back to my roots. I'm like, okay, no, I was trying to fit, a square peg into a round hole. No, I'm a haunter at heart. And I still do the makeup for it.
Yeah.
But that's definitely where my heart is. And outside of that, I teach group fitness classes at Sculpt 365, and I'm a personal trainer.
Cool.
So, and then Paul.
Yeah, so I came out to California from Wisconsin with the dream of making movies. Went to film school in Chicago, moved out to California like a month after I graduated. Within 6 months, I ran out of money, so I moved back to Wisconsin because I was trying to do the whole LA thing, and I was getting an okay amount of work, but a lot of it was free work. So ended up back in Wisconsin, worked for 9 months, moved back out, and ended up in Lancaster, which worked out really well because within a few months we met. And making movies never stops. So that I kind of treat filmmaking as that's my main gig, even though I got to pay the bills somehow. So I was extremely fortunate to get in at Marley's Mutts within a month of us moving out to Tehachapi.
Oh, wow.
And within 3 months, I ended up being put into doing media full time.
Cool.
So really, truly living the dream kind of thing. Like that's exactly what I wanted. So like we have a house, we have three dogs, 4 cats, and I get to go to work where it's like working in the film industry as a Christian. There's a lot of area where it's like morally dubious, where we might want to say no to a certain thing. And if I was editing or working at a studio in some way, and they're like, all right, Paul, here's your next project, and if it was something I disagree with and I say, nah, I'm not comfortable with that, they're just going to say next.
Right.
And so
filming dogs. I mean, how much
you can't
better
get more
does it
wholesome than that.
Yeah,
Right. It's purely wholesome.
It's fantastic. Yeah, honestly, it's all been just one blessing after another since moving to Tehachapi. We love it.
That's very cool. And the commercials that you guys put together are so cool. I remember that.
all
again.
him. It's all him.
They're
Thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're going to love this year's then. Oh, it's going to be so great.
I'm excited. As you were talking about it, I was like, I haven't seen the one for this year. So I'm very excited to see how that comes together.
Yeah, probably within 2 weeks? Think
Yeah,
so.
it's going to be a busy 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but yes.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be a busy 2 months.
But they're awesome, and they really capture the energy that you guys are able to exude at the event when people go through the haunt, and it's just awesome. And you capture the storyline as well. And we were also talking before that your haunt has a theme. Can we talk a little bit about that and what some of the story is? I know we probably don't want to spoil the whole thing,
Sure.
but what's the background on that?
Well, it started out. Well, yeah, you want
Let me
to.
take that.
Okay.
And that is kind of just a side tangent. Because of her from the haunt background, but me from the film background, it kind of creates this amazing dynamic where, like, sure, I occasionally I'll throw out a good idea here or there
got
as
some
far
good
for
ideas, yeah.
for different scenarios, different scares that we can do. But it's the story aspect, the storytelling aspect that I have the background in, where we're able to combine these two passions that we have.
For real world building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. We're both consumers of lots of horror media, obviously. And so there's a lot of inspiration that we take from different video games and movies and whatnot. But that's been like the really satisfying aspects. Like the first year I was pretty hands off. I was just kind of like, all right, kid, go have fun. That's how it kind of felt the first year. But then, as we've kind of developed characters and what the whole scenario is all about. So what this is, it's Tehachapi Terror presents Uncle B's Clown Emporium. And so Uncle B is
It's an entrepreneur.
yes, that's the best way to put
It's
it.
an entrepreneur.
He is the owner, founder, CEO, president of the Clown Emporium, Uncle B's Clown Emporium. And on the surface, sure, some people find clowns scary, so it might be spooky to some people, but it's we don't like saying circus. He doesn't like the C word
That's the
around
C
here.
word. Clown Emporium.
But behind the scenes is where the real magic is happening. And no pun intended with the magician scene that we have. But in the Clown Emporium, visitors will find as they're going through, it kind of starts off, what you'd expect out of a circus carnival kind of thing. But as you get behind the scenes and you're starting to see a little bit of blood and gore,
Kind of things start breaking down. You start seeing the cracks.
You'll find that the Clown Emporium is taking innocent visitors, and some maybe just, what do they do with the bodies anyway? Do they
make candy.
They yeah, that is an aspect. They
Gotta visit our candy shop. Don't miss the candy shop.
So there's a little bit of good old fashioned cannibalism going on, but
Who doesn't love that?
there's also an aspect, because basically there are a lot of different characters at the Clown Emporium. Uncle B is more about growing his family.
Okay.
He wants to create new clowns.
In summary, Tehachapi Terror Clown Emporium it's a family affair.
Ah,
We're just a big family.
love it.
But whereas some other ones, such as Jawbreaker, are kind of more about let's just have lots of blood and gore. And so
Some are more aggressive. Yeah.
yeah. The big thing for us is, yes, it's scary, but we're very self-aware of it, and we want to have a sense of humor about everything.
Yeah.
As dark and as scary as it can get, we want people to come out laughing just as much as they might be crying.
Oh, we tell our volunteers actually during orientation and scare school, first of all, entertain them. And if you can't make them scream, make them laugh.
Yes.
They're there to be entertained regardless of what that looks like. You don't have to make everybody scream. It's all about just having fun. We don't want anyone to be actually upset. It's like we compare it to a roller coaster. It's not real fear.
Right.
None of this is malicious or aggressive in any way. We're trying to entertain people and let them have a good, safe, fun, scary time.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I was telling you guys, my family has gone the last 2 years to Tehachapi Terror, and we have still long-running, inside jokes between us of instances that happened while,
That's awesome.
going with my parents and my younger brother through the maze and,
That's so cool to
getting
hear.
scared and, ending laughing and making fun of each other of like, you got so scared by, such and such that
I
popped
love
out.
that. I love hearing that.
But yeah.
That's exactly what we want. I love hearing that.
Yes, tons of fun. Okay, so we touched on the theme there. What's some of the inspiration for you guys? You mentioned horror movies, video games. What's some of a few movies and games that might stick out in your mind as really big inspirations
Right.
for the haunt?
Right. The most obvious one that you'll see walking through, and I'd say it was one of the original inspirations, was of course Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you dig a little deeper, you start doing more research. We were heavily influenced by Resident Evil. We're both big Resident Evil fans. A little bit of Evil Within, which is my personal favorite horror game. I'd say those are the main ones.
Yeah. I'm kind of realizing over the years as we're doing this, it would be very easy for people to make comparisons to House of a Thousand Corpses. So we are trying to find ways to pull away from that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, we're not nearly as
Not as
grotesque
intense.
or
Yeah.
intense.
We're not Rob Zombie levels
Right.
of intensity.
Universal Horror Nights. It wasn't the last time we went, but it was when we went in 2019. Yeah, tail end of 2019.
That was
right
an
before-
intense maze.
Yeah.
a little chaotic.
You had never even seen the movie.
No,
And so-
and so I'm like, what is happening in here?
That was a
What
bit
is
much.
this?
So even we have our limits.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we like to find balance.
Yeah, and I think you guys do a great job of that.
Appreciate that.
As you were saying, maintaining the fear, which is not real fear, but the adrenaline rush that people enjoy to get, as well as the entertainment.
Yeah, we like to be silly, honestly.
absolutely.
Yeah, we make ourselves laugh, honestly, with just ridiculous scenarios and just coming with an idea and just cracking up about it. And that's always a good sign when we're laughing and sharing an idea. It's like, that's a good one right there. That's what we're going to put in.
Write that down.
Exactly. Send it to our crew. Like, wouldn't this be funny?
Yes.
And so
I love it. Speaking of your crew, what are your volunteer base like? I mean, you're ran entirely by volunteers.
We are.
What's the sort of who do you have that works for this?
my
Just
gosh.
people of all ages, all backgrounds.
Oh, and then some. I think our youngest this year is actually 13. Typically, we only do 16 and older, but she is
Okay.
the daughter of two of our volunteers, and so we're letting her come in, and she's going to do great.
Cool.
I believe our oldest they're in their 70s. They're actually some of my students, and we have everything in between. We have, oh my gosh, we have, our lead construction volunteer is a mechanic, and then we have, what do our volunteers do outside the haunt? We have a lot of high schoolers, definitely a lot of high schoolers. And I mean, I love working with the high schoolers because I see a lot of myself in them, of course. We have one that this is her third year coming back, and she flies back from New York
Oh
to
my
come to this. She
gosh.
moved to New York after our first year, and she loves it so much.
Wow.
Bree, I know you're listening. Can't wait to see you, kiddo. We're going to be out here real soon. And so, yeah, we have a lot of people that are just very, very dedicated, and I don't want to sound cliche, but it really is a family. If people that have not worked in a haunted house wouldn't necessarily expect that, just how wholesome of an environment it is. But when you're working those kind of hours in that kind of environment, especially the people that are working the same scene together, you get a really pretty unique bond, and a lot of really unexpected friendships have formed from what I've seen. And so we're all very, very close, tight knit. We support each other, and it's surprisingly wholesome.
I believe
and
it.
very loving.
Yeah. It sounds kind of similar to maybe I was just growing up doing like theater in high school, kind of that
100%,
sort of the
yes,
scene.
Absolutely.
Where you're bonding over this project basically that you're going to entertain people with, and so you're
Exactly.
enjoying your cast and crew amongst each other, and then you're able to give this gift to the public. So-
Exactly, yeah. And so very tight knit group. They're wonderful. I can't express just how grateful we are for them because we really couldn't do it without them. Scare actors, blackout, setup, everybody. They're just incredible.
Well, it's super cool to see the camaraderie grow out of like, you'll put like, we have complete strangers going into a room together, and even if they're doing blackout or they're acting, they kind of all get in on it, and they are all like kind of
conspiring.
Yeah, like they're
they work together really well.
They collaborate, and they
come up with
make each other laugh.
Yeah.
And it's like we said, like, it is about scaring our guests that are coming through. It's not malicious, but this is just
fun.
It's a very unique kind of outlet for these individuals. And so one of them, Gabe, he was in a room with Bree, who you'd mentioned a moment ago, and her first year, she was still in high school. So we have a dude that was probably...
He's a dad.
He was 30. I think he's about my age.
Unexpected friendships, and they work amazing together.
Yep.
And so they're kind of stuck together. They've asked, like, can we do a different scene? No. I mean, we're open to suggestions, of course, but we said, like, you guys work really well together. And like, yeah, we do. And so they do a really fantastic scene. If you've been through, do you remember the missing persons posters at all?
Oh, I can't say I do.
Okay. You have to keep your eyes peeled for Gabe and Bree.
I will.
Yeah. Because they're just phenomenal. I mean, but yeah, we have just these unexpected friendships, and they, like Paul said, they go in complete strangers and they come out practically best friends, and what's amazing is they come up with these scares and these tactics and these roles that we couldn't even come up with. They come up with amazing things. They take these positions and they just run with them. It's incredible to see. They get so creative, so creative, and just so blessed to have all of them.
Yeah. And now, are you guys still looking for volunteers for the upcoming hunt?
We are currently in need of one position that we really, really need. We're looking for male, I don't care what age, but average height, anywhere between 5'5", 5'10", average to slim build. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to give that away, of course. But no acting experience needed. I would love to have one or two more people in Q line. So for that, we do need people with acting experience. We do need more blackout, which blackout is kind of a workaround term. It's essentially security, but security with no guard card. And so blackout personnel, they are stationed throughout the maze in key areas with a high-vis vest, walkies, flashlights, that sort of thing. And they are there just to keep everybody safe between some guests. They do get a little rowdy. Some people have unexpected, unfortunate reactions to being scared. And so, it's to keep the crew safe as well as the scenes and to keep the guests safe. If they, let's just say some get a little bit too scared, some need to be escorted out. Some people kind of shut down. And so they're there to be escorted out safely. And so they really help just keep everything running safely. They're my eyes and ears on the inside. They communicate with me, and so they're so valuable. And I'd love to have a few more.
They help keep people well behaved.
Basically, yeah. Because look, don't come through our event if you know that you're going to have a problem being scared. Some people, I think they almost get frustrated when they're scared. It's like, look, we're not trying to bully you. Like, we're trying to give you a good time. Don't pick on my volunteers. They're wonderful people. So be nice to my volunteers. They're wonderful.
Absolutely, the golden rule there.
Exactly, yeah. Which fortunately we really haven't had much of an issue. Most people come through and they're very well behaved. It's just that tiny little 1% that we have to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the haunt, the location is changing this year. I remember, 2 years ago? It was at kind of a warehousey building.
Yeah, it's at the ProTech building,
Yeah, and then we had that cool house out by the high school that you did last year.
You know how old that building is?
No.
Is it 40s or 20s? 30s. 30s. Split the difference there.
Yep.
1930s. It has a basement.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really interesting setting up there. You could tell it's from the 30s. But yeah, this year, well, let me back up a little bit. So last year, if you guys paid attention, it was very stressful. We kept having locations drop out, and then we couldn't find anything. It was getting really down to the wire, to the point that we did cancel for like 2 hours. And then Nate Harbison, our business partner and main sponsor, he called in and he said, "Hey, I think I might have an option for you if you want to hear it." I'm like, "Yes." I don't care what it is. He's like, "Well, you want to know what it is?" "No, just yes." My goodness, we need something because we don't want to just bail on this and lose that momentum.
Right.
And so that's where we ended up last year. And it was honestly perfect for us. We had no plumbing. I don't know if you guys knew that.
No.
Yeah, we had no running waters, which was, so during setup, we were driving up the road to, Walmart to use the bathroom. But other than that, phenomenal location. It was so great. But during that last little part, last year. It would have been July, August, I think, which was really getting down to the wire for us. We had been contacted by Lindsay at Woodward West.
Oh, cool.
And I'll be honest, I didn't know what Woodward West was. And she briefly explained it. I didn't look into it. I didn't think it was as big as it is. I'll just say that. But I knew that just based on what she was telling me, I thought we don't have the kind of time or manpower or money to put together what I know we would need to.
Sure.
And so I politely declined. I said, hey, maybe next year. And she said, yeah, maybe next year. And I kind of just put it out of my mind because, hey, I had another haunt to run and moving on. And then this year we hit the ground running like we always do, looking for a location as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And I remember it was one day, I remember exactly where we were. We were driving to Marley's. I was driving to drop him off to work. And it was just all of a sudden, I remembered, I'm like, oh my gosh, we had Woodward West contact us. I completely remembered that. And I reached out to her like 20 minutes later. I said, hey, you still willing to have us? Are you open to this idea? And so that was actually back in May that we went and we got a tour of the facility. And we were just overwhelmed because we saw this space and we saw the potential.
Yeah.
Just how huge the space is. And so from there, it was a little bit of a long process, just logistics and all that. And it was only, a few weeks ago? A month maybe that we were able to finally announce it officially.
Yep.
Cool.
But during that time we were still we knew that it was looking good, and so we were still preparing, we were still fundraising, we were building walls, props, getting volunteers. But we are so excited to bring this to Woodward West because first of all, we're going to be fully indoors. If you've been to any of our events, we were at least partially outdoors, which is really stressful, especially in Tehachapi with the weather. I always spend a couple months watching that long-term forecast like a hawk, looking for wind, rain, cold, all of that, because I don't want guests to have to wait outside in that. I don't want my crew to work outside in that.
Right.
I don't want to be outside in that because I'm everywhere. I cruise around. And so, this year it's going to be fully indoors, even the line, unless that line gets crazy, which it could. It could. It very well could, especially Halloween night.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, it's going to be indoors completely, which I'm so excited about. But not only that, the space is just huge. I mean, I don't want to say how big. And of course, we're not filling that entire space.
Yeah.
But it gives us space to work, which is
yeah.
incredible. What a blessing. And so this year's maze, it's going to probably be a little bit bigger. That remains to be seen. But there will probably be a few little things that might keep you a little longer.
Okay.
We'll see. Might prolong your stay a little bit. And so, but we're so grateful to Woodward for hosting this. I mean, the generosity. I mean, they're literally clearing out a space for us.
Wow.
I mean, the generosity and support for the community, it's very, very evident. And so, we're very grateful. Thank you, Woodward, because I'm not sure where we would be this year, honestly, without that, because we're starting to exhaust our options. So we're very grateful.
That's
awesome.
been the trickiest thing is we have to rely on the generosity of pretty much a business because, obviously residential isn't an option.
Yeah.
Someone's not going to let us just take their house.
Not to mention, the neighborhood and noise, because we're noisy,
Yeah.
pretty noisy.
And so over the years, it's like we've kind of used up every place that we could. We almost got a place last year.
It's over in town. But the problem was it was a vacant building, and the problem was, and this is what ended up being that big fallout last year, is that they were requesting a type of insurance that just really did not seem to exist. I went through so many brokers. They said, you'd have to stack 4 different coverages. It'd be like $20,000.
Oh.
Not going to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. This year it's bad enough, $1,900 for insurance.
Oh, wow.
It's gone up. But thanks to our sponsors, we've been able to take care of that, which is wonderful. But that was kind of the big fallout. But it's tough to find a location. So finding Woodward, I mean, my gosh, it's amazing. And Stallion Springs is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Just beautiful.
It's just such a huge commitment on any location. Outside of our first year, because our first year we pretty much
before.
But when we were at Cornerstone for year 2, I think we did explain what kind of commitment it was going to be, but I think
there was just some miscommunication,
Yeah.
but they were still so gracious when they realized that, it can't actually move. So they ran their office while they were going around the walls. They were amazing. They were so amazing about
awesome.
that. Last year, fortunately, that wasn't an issue. But we start setup this weekend. And so we're taking up that space for 2+ months.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to ask of any business. And so for them to just say yes is amazing. And we're so grateful. I mean, it's amazing.
That's super cool. And I mean, there's a ton of younger kids and families out there in Stallion Springs too. So maybe more of an incentive if those folks hadn't made their way down into town to check out the haunt in the past. This is a great way to do so. And then vice versa for the people living in town. great way to go check out Stallion Springs and enjoy the haunt, and check out Woodward West too, because it's kind of can be a little elusive of like what's going on back there. You see all these kids skating and like, oh, it looks so awesome.
Yeah, if you're into any of that, oh my gosh. Last time we were there, I was looking around and thinking, I kind of wish I was a skater because this is a playground.
It's so cool.
If you haven't been there, it's enormous. I mean, when we got our tour, it's huge. It's huge. It's beautifully put together. And yeah, if you're into anything like that, biking, skating, anything, I think they do parkour and stuff like that. It is a playground and then some because it's massive. So definitely check it out. You can check it out while we're there too. You get a twofer, but even outside of that, yeah, I believe they have their skating open. I don't know the details. I won't speak to that, but I know you can go and check them out. They have their website and the social media.
Okay, good stuff. So Woodward West, what are the dates for this? We're just kicking off September, but I mean, I know I'm already looking forward to Halloween. Some people are also starting to plan. What's the kickoff date for Tehachapi Terror?
Sure. So we are opening up October 12th, which is a Saturday. And then we're running October 12th and 13th. And then the following long weekend of October 18th, 19th, and 20th. And then our final long weekend of the 25th, 26th, and 27th. And for the first year since our first year, we are open Halloween night. And all of those nights, except for Halloween, we're going to be open 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So the line closes at 9 p.m. Halloween night, we're expecting big crowds. We're going to be open 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So a little extra hour in there for people to come in and get their last little dose of Tehachapi Terror.
That is awesome. Super exciting. And another amazing part of this whole hunt is that it's free admission, which is kind of unheard of in today's age of, leaving your house. So what a great way to get the kids out and enjoy something fun. Get your friends, family, whoever to enjoy this. And I know my family took advantage of the donation, $10 donation Fast Pass, which is awesome. But do you guys accept donations as well from the general public just because you guys do an awesome job and they want to say, hey, you're awesome?
Oh, we absolutely do. We have a GoFundMe available on our social media. We also have an Amazon wish list for those that prefer to do a little shopping, a little online shopping.
All right.
We have a good list on there. And then when you're actually there in person, the donation jar that's out, that is for our charity of choice this year, which is Family Life Pregnancy Center of Tehachapi. That being said, we do offer $10 front of the line passes because that line does get a little bit long each year. And we're also going to be selling some of our merch, so mugs, t-shirts, those will be there. Those go back into Tehachapi Terror. So those are separate. But as far as the jar, that's just donations for our charity.
Very cool and awesome. Again, you guys finding a charitable cause to also bring into this fun event and activity. You were talking earlier that you also do a zombie walk earlier in the year. Now, is that fundraising for Tehachapi Terror or fundraising for another cause?
So that one doesn't necessarily raise funds. That is a free event. Anybody can join it. You just have to provide your own zombie costume. You show up. You just sign up ahead of time, and we put out plenty of information on social media in advance. We welcome pretty much everyone. I mean, we've had toddlers, I'm pretty sure, in strollers with a little bit of zombie makeup. So we take everyone of all ages. We really encourage as many people to join in as we can. That one, we do a food drive. And you might see a wagon being pulled by one of our zombies. You can come over and toss some food in. We take that over to Tehachapi Humanitarian Relief. But otherwise, that's just free to the public. Come and take photos with the zombies. Enjoy the spectacle of zombies shuffling down Tehachapi Boulevard. We may do it on a different street this next year. We found that maybe Tehachapi Boulevard's a little too quiet.
Okay.
We might take it up over to Tucker. We'll see. But we typically do that late spring, early summer. I think this past year it was a little cold. If you came out, it was very cold this year. I think we're going to aim towards May for this next year, but we'll post about that usually after the new year. And so people should stay tuned and sign up. The more zombies, the better. We want a big horde this next year.
Absolutely. I love it. Who wouldn't want to see a big horde of zombies walking down town throughout Tehachapi? I mean, I would.
Cheap thrills.
Exactly. There we go. And speaking of all of the work that goes into creating this event, you guys make all of your sets? Do you build your props? Speak to some of that process there.
Sure. Well, the wall panels, I will credit our build crew to 99% of that. I do paint most of them, but they do a lot of the construction. I can make things look pretty spooky. I'm not so good on the structurally sound aspect.
Sure.
As far as props on the interior, though, I I'll be a little bit boastful right now. I'll say I build most of those.
That's awesome.
Honestly, this year we've got a couple new animatronics. I built my first animatronic this year. Actually, I just finished it today.
Cool.
Usually my dad is one that helps me with that because he's an engineer, and so he helps out with that, and he is still building a couple this year. But yeah, most props, we build a handful every year, and then we have that kind of stockpile, which is nice. But yeah, wall panels and props. Wardrobe is kind of a mixed bag. A lot of it I do purchase, but then we weather it and we stain it and we make it our own a little bit. So it's a broad mix.
Very cool. And you had mentioned that you had done special effects makeup. Do you do that for the people involved in the haunt?
I do. And most years it's been just me doing makeup on everyone. Last year we got a little help. This year we have a little bit more help, which I'm so excited to have because a lot of people are in masks simply because I can only do so much when I'm kind of heading up everything and then having to do makeup on people. But yeah, I did special effects makeup for TV and film for a number of years, mainly because I got into it from doing haunted houses. And I thought that just seemed like a natural path to go down. I did that and then realized I was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And I realized, no, this isn't what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to haunted houses. And it just felt so right. This is what I'm meant to do.
But that being said, she is stuck as my makeup artist for any of my movies.
I am. I am, which is fine. That's fine. Great. That's good.
Built-in makeup artist.
Yeah, exactly. And built-in media guy for my events.
Hey, there you go.
It's a win-win.
It is. I love
that. Symbiotic relationship.
Okay, so if people have never gone to a haunted house before, maybe they're just a little timid or it's just something that they've never heard of, what is your kind of words of wisdom? Is Tehachapi Terror a good place for them to start venturing out into the world of haunts?
That is a really good question because I think we get a lot of people that are first timers. So for anyone that hasn't been to any haunted house, but especially Tehachapi Terror, we typically warn them what you can expect to find inside. It's going to be dark. It's going to be confined. There's going to be loud noises, scary actors. There's going to be people jumping out at you. There's going to be smells. And then from a health standpoint, there are strobe lights. So if you're epileptic, you want to avoid that. There are fog machines. And so similarly, if you have asthma, you may want to be mindful of that. And as far as we get asked all the time, is it scary? And that is such a loaded question because everybody is different. What I tell people is we've had 3-year-olds come out the end laughing and we've had grown men come out crying. This is a personal decision you have to make. But if you've been to things like Knott's Scary Farm, Six Flags, and you enjoyed it, you'll enjoy us. If you've never been to a haunted house, exercise caution. Sure. That being said, we have emergency exits. If you need to, you can flag down someone that'll escort you out. But just be mindful that the people you encounter inside are just normal people. They are volunteers, so please be respectful of them, even when they are scaring you. But overall, it's a fun time. Go in with the expectation that you're going to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that brings up the point that we do make sure that all of our volunteers are very circumstantial based on the reaction that they get. If we have people that are like shutting down, they kind of will de-escalate.
Yeah, they back off, especially youngins. Although that being said, like I said, we get a lot of kids that are weirdly not afraid.
Yeah,
it's very strange. Maybe they're too young to understand. I don't know. I just know if I were that age, I would have freaked out.
There's this really, really funny thing. I'm so glad I got it on camera.
Oh, it's so good.
Our second year, our grand finale was our character Beefcake. He's the guy with the chainsaw. So if you've been through and you got scared, you got rushed out by the guy with the chainsaw.
Everyone loves Beefcake.
Yeah.
So this small family goes through, and this little, she had to be 2 or 3.
I'd say 4.
I don't know.
I'm better at the ages. I'm going to say 3 or 4.
Okay.
You know, speaking and walking fine.
Okay.
Young.
So about 4 years old.
Young.
Very young. And this girl seemed like she had a good time. And just like jokingly, the mom says to her, she's like, hey, you want to go again? And the girl goes, yeah. And she immediately takes a beeline right back towards Beefcake, right back to the guy with the chainsaw.
Exactly. And so that's what I mean. But then you also have videos of grown adults in that scene where they were literally crouched down in a fetal position and wouldn't move. And so that's what I mean when I say we can't give a blanket answer. That being said, under 12 years old, we do require an escort of 18 or older. And so don't drop your 10-year-olds off and expect them to be able to go through, because it's just a safety precaution.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else, like as far as encouraging people to come out, anything that I may have missed in regards to really just giving people an overview of what there is to be enjoyed and offered at Tehachapi Terror?
I think we've been pretty thorough, but overall, I mean, Tehachapi Terror is just a good, safe scary time to enjoy Halloween this year and within our own community, not having to go to Bakersfield, not having to go to Lancaster, even further to LA. To be able to enjoy something like this within your own community is just something we wanted to provide. And so we're hoping that we get as many people out as we can to enjoy it, especially opening weekend. We love to start opening weekend with a bang. So October 12th and 13th, we'd love to see a lot of people out there.
Very cool.
And honestly, we kind of see this as just, it's a win-win-win kind of situation. Because like, yeah, our community gets this awesome free event. And from a selfish perspective, especially for Steph, like this is just what she loves doing. Like every aspect of it, you know, even on the days where she's not feeling good.
I have many chronic illnesses.
Yeah.
And so, but honestly,
which makes it even more impressive with what you accomplish. But
I love what I do. Yeah, it's fun. At the end of the day, it's what I love to do. And it's what many of our crew love to do.
Right.
Exactly. And that's been one of the greatest things about this is we've had so many people, so many of our volunteers thank us for giving them the opportunity.
For, quote unquote, allowing them. Like, you're thanking me for volunteering? I mean, oh my gosh, last year, let's go over what happened last year, closing night.
Oh, geez.
I cried in costume, which was terrifying looking from an outside perspective because I got my contacts in and everything. No, they all of our volunteers behind our back secretly that day signed this card, which is still up on our fridge, got us flowers and a cake and actually donated money to us. I mean, and again, thanked us. And we were just blown away because I go into the end of the night, our final night, with a little spiel and a speech to thank them because they work their butts off. They volunteer for us. And then they spin it around Uno Reverso on us. And we were pretty shocked, but we're just deeply touched. But that goes back to just how tight-knit this little what's called a haunt family, this little family is. And that just everybody we're all friends. You know, at the end of the day, we're all friends. It's a good-natured community.
Yeah.
We have a philosophy of like, because everything that we're doing, like, you know, whether it's The Haunt or if it's one of our films, like our film Hole that we just shot last summer, we're not in the world of, we're not making money off of it. So it's like,
if it's not fun, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're not having a good time, what's the point?
Exactly.
And we want every single volunteer to have a good time. There's not a single position in that maze that I wouldn't work myself. I learned that from a haunted house I worked at in Thousand Oaks. And so there's not any acting position where it's boring or lame. They just stick their hand through a hole. No. Every single position, we want someone to have a good time and be safe and enjoy themselves.
That's awesome. And I think that it really speaks to that you guys really put an emphasis on the fun and the passion that you two bring to the project for anybody that walks through it. I've heard nothing but glowing reviews, and I continue to just be so impressed every year. And I'm super excited to see what this year has in store. As you said, getting bigger and better than ever. Super cool, unique location out there at Woodward West. So if people want to learn more after listening to this, follow along with your guys' story, where can they do that?
So we are on pretty much most social media. Well,
I guess not on X. We're not on.
Never mind. We're
not on TikTok.
Never mind. We're in our 30s. No. So we're on Facebook and Instagram primarily. We do have a YouTube. It's not super active. All those videos will be on other social media platforms. We do have a website. We have not purchased the domain name yet, so it's not very eloquent, but it is bit.ly/TatchBeTerra. But that's also linked on our social medias if they want to find that there.
Easy peasy.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube @TatchBeTerra. Really simple and easy.
Yeah, can't miss it. There's no other Tatch Be Terrors.
No, the one and only.
The one and only. The OG.
Oh yes.
That is one other thing I want to mention is we bring this up so frequently that if it was not for Tehachapi, we wouldn't have a haunt.
Yeah. We couldn't do this in Bakersfield, Lancaster, any of these large. This is such a community-driven event that if we had tried to do it anywhere else, especially these larger towns, we would have gotten lost in the shuffle. We wouldn't have had the support that we've needed between businesses, volunteers, and just overall community support. And so, yeah, it's only because of Tehachapi that we can do this. This is not a solo venture by any means.
Oh, yeah. What a fantastic community we have.
Oh, it's amazing. We love it.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I mean, this is kind of primarily what this podcast talks about a lot is all of these various community organizations that put on so many different events or activities or offer so many things to our community. You guys are another one of our fantastic organizations doing just that, and doing it in a very unique way, bringing something fresh and new to Tehachapi. Because as you were saying, not everybody wants to drive down to Bakersfield or all the way out to LA for this high quality production for all of our Halloween lovers out there. So
we appreciate
thank you
that.
guys.
We appreciate that. It's our pleasure.
Of course. All right. Any final thoughts?
I don't think so. We're just excited for October. We can't wait to see you all come out.
Yes. Get ready to get spooky. All right, everybody listening, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions for us regarding this episode or anything going on locally, you can email us media@tehachapiCityHall.com and we'll direct those questions to the right place. And we'll catch you back here next time on Tatch Pod.